final task for the term is to create your own game. Now, you can base it on what we've done before, but I strongly suggest that you choose a game of type that you like and use the tutorials to put together a game. So if you notice just under your project here, you've got a whole string of tutorials. And all you need to do is open one up. I'm going to create one called Galga, I used to love this as a kid. Arcade games where your spacecraft flew through space, fired darts at asteroids and destroyed them. So you just click on Start Tutorial, and what it does is on the top of the screen here, just got to click OK. That kind of shows you what the game's going to look like. It tells you what you need to do, and I'm going to walk you through this particular tutorial just to show you how one of them might work. You don't have to choose this one, you can choose any tutorial. So it says add code to create a sprite and rename it as spaceplane, and draw a plane of some kind of or flying object on it. Now you don't have to follow instructions absolutely. You can change the name, that shouldn't be important. But try to follow the tutorials as closely as you can while still being creative. So I'm going to click a sprite, and it's going to be of kind player, and I've just got to rename it and call it spacecraft. Okay, and then I go in and I draw a spacecraft. So I'm going to pause the video and come back when I've done that. So I've drawn my spacecraft here. I just click done, and that's the first one. So I click next, and it says set spaceplane to stay in the screen. So from my sprites, I go and get the stay in screen block, and I just have to change the name and switch it on. Click next. Start the game with a few lives, so set life to 3. Now that's under the info menu, so I'm going to get set life to 3 at the beginning of the game. And you'll notice on the console virtualizer it shows 3 little hearts. You've got 3 lives. If you hit, you lose a life basically. Now move the spaceplane with the controller buttons. Obvious, so I'm going to move it with the buttons. And it says change the sensitivity to 200. So, oops, I've just got to change that to spacecraft. If you next to buttons, you've got a plus, and you can change the sensitivity here. So if you change it to 200, and just go and do the next one as well. Then if you look at your visualizer and you move it up and down, you'll notice it kind of has that jumpy effect. That's what they used to do back in the day. Now it says add an event to run code when button A is pressed. And you'll notice on the little jigsaw piece, this is where you can go to see what it looks like. So that very often the words don't make much sense. Sometimes the description isn't quite accurate in some of the tutorials. Unfortunate, but that's life. The little hint here should show you what you need to do. So on button A press, set dart to projectile. You draw a little projectile from wherever it comes from with a velocity, and that velocity should be 200 by 0. So button A pressed, I'm guessing that's on game, no, controller, there we go, on button A pressed. And then I've got to set a sprite which is a projectile from something. There we go, it's that one in red. So they said rename it as dart. I'm going to call mine missile. Oops, I've got caps lock on for some reason. Missile. And it must come from the spacecraft. In other words, it shoots out of the spacecraft. And what was it? 200 by 0. Now, obviously, you could play around with these values. I've just got to go in and draw my projectile. I think just a little missile thing, give it a little guidance system and a red flame shooting out. Something like that. So there's my missile, and obviously at this point you're going to want to test it. So I'm going to refresh my game, go up here. I can move around the screen, and when I click on button A here, it shoots a missile out, and when I click it, shoots. That seems to work quite well. That's all I need to do. Yep. Click on next. Add another event to run code on game update every half second. Create a sprite of kind enemy, rename it bogey, it's enemy, and draw the enemy plane on it. So on game update, this puzzle is very useful. Every half second, set bogey sprite to kind of enemy. Okay, so if I click on game there, it says on game update, I've got to make a sprite of kind enemy, and I've got to call it bogey. Bogey is what the airmen in the war used to call enemy planes. So I'm going to keep that one. And again, I'm just going to pause while I draw that craft. There we go, enemy craft. And I've done that. And I think just click on the link again. Yeah, that's all I needed to do. So I'm ready to go on to next. On the bogey sprite, set the velocity to have it fly horizontally from right to left. So if I click on there, it says set bogey velocity to -100 and 0. So let me try that. So set velocity to minus 100. Come on, -100. Okay, something's not working. Let me get to bogey there. -100, and that one is 0. Don't know what went wrong there. And so every half second, it's going to create a bogey, and it's going to give it a certain velocity. And we'd better just test that. So let's refresh here. I can't see it being created. Where are the bogeys? -100, 0. Okay, let's click next, see what's going on. Add code to set the position of bogey. Okay, well that's why we haven't told the bogey where to go. To X to 180 and a random number. I don't understand those words. Let me just click on here. So set bogey position to 100Y and pick random 0 to 120. Okay, so we're going to get set bogey position. Set bogey position to, what was it again? 180Y and then a random number. Come on, I want to type it in. I'm useless at this, obviously. Okay, let's go and pick the random number. And the random number was, I'll just refresh my memory, 0 to 120. And this one was 100. Why does it keep doing that? Okay, tell you what, I'm going to do that, and let's just test it. Refresh, and you can see there are bogeys flying kind of randomly. Now, that's a little bit too fast for me, so you can change it to 1 second if you want. Use one more event to run code when a player sprite overlaps with an enemy sprite. So what do they mean by that? So on sprite of kind player overlaps with other sprite of kind enemy. So it's that on sprite. Put that over here. On sprite of kind player overlaps with other sprite of kind enemy. Add code to destroy the other sprite Okay, so I've got to go destroy other sprite. Not my sprite, but the bogey. Okay, so it'll destroy the bogey. In that event, add code to remove a life or change it by -1. So change life by -1. In other words, you collide with it, you lose a life, the bogey is destroyed. Put an event to run code when a projectile sprite overlaps with enemy sprite. So on sprite of kind projectile overlaps other sprite. So on sprite of kind projectile overlaps with the, let me put a stop to that. I'm going to have to move that up to see it, of type enemy. It gets a bit, I don't know where to put things on the screen. Okay, enemy, click next on the tutorial. I'm on a roll here. Add destroy the other sprite. So that's destroy other sprite. And remember that that's the bogey that gets destroyed. Insert destroy code to the with project. What? Destroy sprite with fire effect. So I think I just need to add a fire effect here. Okay, so if we restart the game, oh, I'm not pressing my buttons. Okay, I don't know if any of that worked. See, I lost a life there. Seem to be destroying. Okay. Let's see what happens next. And add change score. So I've got to change score by 1. In other words, I get a score every time I win that. I'll just overlap that there. And you've completed the game. So let's just test it by refreshing it, and just go back one. Refresh the game. I've got to press buttons here. Lost lives already. Well, I better start again. You can see that I'm losing lives and score is being added. And I'm very rusty. I'm not very good at this. Well, that seems to work. Have fun with it. And remember, when you finish it, you finish your project, you've got a chance to share your project. And this creates a link which you can upload to Teams. And then your game opens on the big screen. You click Publish Project, and your Galga project, it gives this little link. You've got a QR code that you can share with your friends so that they can play as well. And you can give this to your parents, your brother, your sister, get everyone to play your game. Good luck with your game. Hope you enjoy it. Remember to make it your own.